All right, everyone. We start off today, of course, talking about day two, the fallout from the Charlie Kirk assassination. And let's face it, it was an assassination. This was not celebratory gunfire, as Van Jones suggested, and he's an absolute fool for having done so. We've got multiple links in the description. Only one of them's archived. That's from the story MSNBC has forced out Matthew Dowd, actually. He's gone there. When you get to the point where your comments, namely effectively insinuating that Charlie Kirk's hurtful words led to hurtful thoughts, and then that led to hurtful actions. Yeah, so he's responsible for the fact that somebody shot him in the neck and killed him. Yeah, he's totally responsible for that because mean words mean that you deserve to get shot. Apparently, that's the insinuation. So he's out. In a left-wing response, we'll look at Ed Krasenstein in a second here. I'm going to read his tweet verbatim because it's like you wandered off the funny farm apparently. The left-wing response to this has been so poor that I'm seeing people that I know to be relatively liberal. These are not card-carrying GOP members or something like that, and they're saying, "What the hell are you even saying?" Multiple individuals actually on that particular train. The left does not know how to respond to such a situation. It's like, generally speaking, when the blood's still warm, you don't immediately start cheering on the fact that they're dead or blaming them for their own death when they were not doing anything criminal at the time. Notice this with the left. If somebody is, beating up a pregnant woman and the cop kneels on their neck too long or something like that, that's murder and terrible and heinous, and they get statues built to them. But if you're Charlie Kirk and you get shot for absolutely no reason, simply giving a lecture, ironically at that very moment, on left-wing violence, which is involved here, definitely. We know this. Don't be stupid. There's no need to speculate. Then, oh, well, he was kind of justified or something. Here's what Ed Krasenstein had to say, and then we'll get to the possible Israeli connection with regards to Charlie Kirk being assassinated. And if that manhunt fails, well, probably, conceivably, the person could be outside of the country already, right now. This is what Ed Krasenstein had to say. The Russian troll farms are in full force trying to divide us further this morning after Charlie Kirk's assassination. The more divided we are, the less bad Putin looks. Um, it blows my mind. Remember that just because you see someone celebrating on X or making a threat on X doesn't mean they are actually Americans. I guess the idea is that the leftoids that are celebrating the death are all a bunch of Russians, including those with multiple TikTok videos speaking perfectly fluent English who are clearly in America. Those are clearly Russian plants. Putin's got a very, very broad reach. Russia's got some terribly large resources when they're getting a bunch of Americans to, for years at a time, pose as leftists in order to make them look bad. I guess that's what Ed Krasenstein is formulating in his very, very dim mind. No, Ed, not everyone who is critical of left-wing violence is based in Moscow. For example, I'm sitting here in Rutland, Vermont. I was born in the United States. I have never been to Russia. In fact, I've only actually talked to a few Russians in my life. No, they didn't have to pay me to criticize the left wing for its violence. That's where the possible Israeli connection actually comes in. Back in August, man working with InfoWars by the name of Harrison Smith actually pointed out that Charlie Kirk apparently in private conversation with a third party, which he was privy to, had said he was worried the Israelis would kill him if he criticized Israel too much. Only a few days ago, he was talking with Megyn Kelly and also Ben Shapiro separately on his show. Over the course of the last few weeks, he has been more critical of Israel's actions with regards to the war in Gaza. Then he dies. He gets killed. Interesting timing. Also, it is a little bit odd that Netanyahu had one of the quickest snap responses to the fact that he was dead. It is a little sus, just asking questions here, I would point out, by the way, for the people that'll say, oh, that's anti-Semitism, conspiracy. Okay, there are three different distinct variants of Jew. There's the Jewish religion, there's the Jewish state, and then there's Jewish ethnicity. These often overlap, but not always. There are Jews that live all around the world. There are plenty of Jews and they live in Argentina, for example. They're not Israelis. They have nothing to do with the Israeli state. When we criticize Israel, it's a civic construct. It is Jewish because the state was incepted as the Jewish state and for no other reason. There are people in Israel that are Christians. There are people that are in Israel that are Jews. There are Muslims there. There are Hindus there. Okay, so the state of Israel and its civic construct is not the same as Judaism, either in the religious or ethnic form. I could become an Israeli if I wanted. I would be a member of the Jewish state. I wouldn't be Jewish, of course, because I like bacon too much. Probably hard to get over there, by the way. Yeah, Christian population, they have to smuggle in their bacon to get their BLT going on and stuff like that. Then probably the local rabbi chastises them for being, oh shit, that smoke coming off that bacon, it's gonna infiltrate my home. It'd be a big problem. And then the Jewish imam will come over and say the same thing. So you'll probably have to go over to Jordan or something like that to get your BLT. But or I could convert to Judaism. I can't be ethnically Jewish, but I could convert to Judaism if I wanted to give up my BLTs. By the way, Netanyahu, do you think he's a particularly religious person? No, no, he doesn't give a shit. He probably eats a BLT too once in a while. I doubt he lives a fully kosher lifestyle, let's put it that way, except for keeping up appearances with dignitaries and stuff like that. So there is a possible aspect here. I have questions that I would like to ask. We'll probably be getting more information. But if this manhunt, which was delayed apparently, it was some random person that pointed out to these people, hey, there was a dude on the roof with a rifle. And that dude that you've got over there, apparently that older gentleman, he was not the shooter. They detained him, questioned him, he was cleared, and then free to go. So that was actually incorrect reporting at the time yesterday. It was not him. The shooter is still at large. Why do I get the feeling that the shooter is no longer in the United States? I have a feeling that this was a directed hit job. Now, I'm not implicating objectively the Israeli state knocked him off, although it would make sense. You're in the middle of a war. The civic government of Israel is different from, Judaism at large or anything like that, or Jewishness at large. You've got this conservative commentator. He's got a huge following. He's young. He's got a lot of youth viewers. And all of a sudden, he starts questioning your war effort. That could be a little bit of a logistic nightmare because this person also happens to be close friends with the President of the United States, the nation that is funding your entire war effort. So there would be a reason, there would be a cause to do so if your only inclination is to care about the civic construct of the State of Israel and its strategic goals. So it's possible. More likely, it's a rabid leftoid. The most likely, Occam's razor kicks in. The most likely is that this was some leftist who decided to go berserk. And clearly, Charlie Kirk was the only target there. It was not a mass shooting, it was a single shot. This was directed. It was not celebratory gunfire. It's not that when people talk about it, it doesn't mean that they're Russians when they say, hey, you shouldn't shoot people for their political views. Oh, haha, you stupid Ruski. That seems to be the response from some people on the left. It's incredible, actually. Ed Krasenstein's take, I think, is probably the most derpy of all. He's getting dogpiled in the responses there, not without good reason. And then you got Dowd out, Van Jones with his bullshit. And you're going to get more today, by the way. As the news cycle goes through the day, I guarantee you're going to get more leftoids that are either saying, well, when you're a hateful person, sometimes bad things happen. You're going to get more such hot takes, I'm sure, from the pundit class and from the far leftoids today. And you'll see more people on the very far left that are celebrating the fact that Charlie Kirk got cooked. And apparently the liberal response is going to be, well, those are just Russians. They're plants. The Republican Party is false flagging us for killing Charlie Kirk. Absolutely mental. That's about all. Peace out.